Government asked to evaluate traffic jams in Bali, and entrance tickets to Besaki to increase in April. Stay tuned for details on this and other stories. Selamat siang. Welcome to the latest news from Bali and Indonesia. This is January 10th, 2024, and my name is Bruce. And what is the weather like today up in North Bali? Well, here in Kampung Bugis right now at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, it is 31.7 degrees Celsius, humidity 71%, and wind speed 6.4 kilometers per hour. And we had some rain 2 days in a row up here. 2 days. Wow. And yesterday's rain was pretty good. The kids were out doing mandi hujan, and maybe we are actually in the rainy season. It is very cloudy and overcast today. No rain yet, but looks like we may have some later in the afternoon. And so, welcome rain. And it won't be long before we're going, when is the dry season going to come? And what about the main stories for today? So, government asked to evaluate horror traffic jam in Bali. So, tourism players are asking the authorities, namely the government, to evaluate and review transportation infrastructure. These include road conditions, traffic control lights, vehicle age restrictions, availability of parking spaces, including the deployment of officers to carry out monitoring. And this follows, of course, that traffic jam incident at the airport where tourists were carrying their luggage, walking on the side of the highway, the toll road, because the traffic was so bad. And last month, 2 months ago, it was fires in the trash dumps. And now it's traffic again. And what are the two big things that foreigners, tourists usually complain about here? Traffic and trash. Traffic and trash. And so the big thing was trash a few months ago. Now it's traffic again. Rightly so, because as many authorities have said, this is making Bali look not very favorable for tourists. According to Nyoman Astama, deputy chair of the Bali Tourism Industry Association, he said, "This is no longer negotiable. We need to do an evaluation. As an input, there are several things that need to be addressed, among them the road conditions in Bali." According to him, building a new road is impossible due to limited land. So, what can be done is to maximize the existing road sections. For example, increasing the width, perhaps 1/2 meter on the existing roads. He said, in the field there are roads that are unevenly paved, and so you can fix those and add a little bit to each side as you're doing it. Or you can widen the roads by blocking river flows, such as on Jalan Imam Bonjol. I'm not sure exactly how they would do that. And what about the age of vehicles? Astama said maybe there could be a kind of limit, the maximum age of vehicles that can be operated. The aim here is to reduce the volume of vehicles on the road. Well, my vehicle, my car anyway, is, well, let's go, how many years ago did we get that? Our car must be 15 years old. In excellent shape because we almost never drive it. And so if we put an age limit on the vehicles, how long is it going to be? And if there is an age limit on the vehicles, well, that's going to favor people that have money, or that like to think they have money and borrow a lot to buy a car. And people who have had a vehicle for a longer time, don't have lots of money, could be me, well, they're going to be out of luck. So I don't know. I don't think that's going to be very popular. But these are some suggestions. Additionally, there's a review of the duration of traffic lights. So especially between the green light and the red light. So you can make the green lights longer and the red lights shorter. Furthermore, it's time for every vehicle owner to have a parking space. And, well, that's a good idea. So you're not parking on the side of the road. Not always able to do that if you live in a crowded area. And, of course, supervision and monitoring by officials, especially for areas where there are traffic jams, especially during the high seasons here. And with technology such as drones, monitoring can be done more easily. And all that, of course, is in addition to community support. This means that the government policies to solve traffic jams must be supported by the community. If not, the policy in question will not be effective. Pakistama said, "We certainly don't want traffic jams to happen again because it tarnishes Bali's image as a tourist destination." Ain't that the truth? And of course there is the LRT, which is supposed to be built sometime this year. And well, how is that going to work out? I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see, as I always say about things here. And what about the next story? You know, it's getting more and more expensive to come to Bali, and starting next month on the 14th, just a month away, there's going to be the tourist tax here in Bali, 150,000 rupiahs per person. And the other day, in the last segment, I had something on Karangasem and prices going up for tourist destinations there. And now we have Besaki. Entrance tickets to the Besaki area are planned to increase as of April 1st, 2024, from 90,000 rupiahs to 150,000 rupiah per person for foreign tourists. But now the headline says this, but actually both foreign and domestic tourists are going to have to pay more money. The increase in ticket prices is assessed in accordance with decisions of the relevant agencies and institutions. The head of Pura Agung Besaki Area Facilities Management Agency, Pak Gusti, said that the plan to increase tickets as of April 1st, 2024, was based on several studies. One of them is because there is an increase in service quality. So quality has gotten better, so we're going to charge more for it. This plan to increase fees is in accordance with the agreement, which stipulates that for foreign tourists, the price will be increased from 90 to 150,000. For domestic tourists, prices are going to be increased from 50,000 to 90,000. So going up 60,000 for foreigners, going up 40,000 for domestic tourists. Pak Gusti explained that this value was in accordance with the study that was done. We have made adjustments to tickets. We published, released, and informed travel agents, he said. Currently, tourists to the Besaki area are at 700 to 1,000 people per day, and tourists who dominate are foreign tourists, while domestic tourists are only a few percent. Pak Gusti hopes that in 2024, tourist visits will increase. He said through events in collaboration with ASITA, it's hoped that visits can increase. Revenue from the beginning of April through December 2023 will be somewhere around 13 to 14 billion rupiah. And for 2024, they expect the income will increase. His party also promised to continue monitoring tourists to the Besaki area in the hopes that undesirable incidents do not occur. He said everything will be done by the system so we can control tourists who don't use tickets, who want to come in for free. He said we'll involve the Pecalang security systems and CCTV to monitor guests. So if you're going to Besaki after April, you're going to pay some more and add that on to other places. So if you're going to be taking a tour of Bali and going to tourist destinations, expect to pay more money. And a lot of complaints from foreigners online about how expensive Bali is getting, and of course comparing it to Thailand as usual, as well as Vietnam. Okay, so dig deep in that wallet if you're coming to Bali. Now, I don't usually talk about politics in Indonesia, and there is a reason for that. But in this case, it's about the mythical North Bali Airport, so I just had to mention this. So yesterday we had the presidential candidate Prabowo, along with Gibran, the vice presidential candidate, and also the son of the current president, Jokowi. They were right here over at the harbor, just a few hundred meters away, and we could hear there was a lot of music, and traditional music, and modern music, and, well, and speeches and talks and things. Gibran campaigns in Buleleng, response to North Bali Airport, and promises to return SMAN Bali Mandara. So the vice presidential candidate, he was here first, and we saw the presidential candidate, Prabowo, coming in on his helicopter, and he was landed over there to the south of us. And what did the vice presidential candidate talk about? Well, economic inequality in Bali, especially regarding the airport issue in North Bali, was one of the focuses of his discussion. And according to Anaka Gungwaranta Kusama, local authority, he said the distance from Ngurah Rai up here to Bulang is quite far, and for that reason, it's necessary to have an airport up here because of the impact on economic growth. And of course, these arguments have been going on for years and years, decades, actually, but they're come up again. So according to Pakwuranta, he proposed 3 solutions to make the economy better here. 1 is building the airport, 2 is optimizing Bulang Port, and 3 is moving the provincial capital to Bulang. Now, out of those, are any of them actually possibly, maybe, might happen? I don't see the capital being moved up here, no. And, well, the airports, I really seriously doubt that it's going to be here while I'm alive. And what about the old port? Well, there were plans about 10 years ago, maybe a little less, to make the port kind of an entertainment cultural center. And there were a lot of people that came in here from Jakarta, engineers, surveyors, and they were here in the kampung figuring out what they were going to tear down to make roads here and beautify the area for tourists. And then phew, that plan went up in smoke. So I don't know what would be done at the port. There are a lot of stuff that could be done. There's some room there to build some things, I guess. There is a museum there. And it's a small museum. There's not a lot to see, but I like it. And of course, there's the restaurants right out on the pier there, and so you can do that. Otherwise, unless you're here on like a Saturday or a Sunday night, there's not a lot to do there. Saturday, Sunday night, a lot of families and young people, you know, kind of dating, come there, and there's car rides and different things to do. So I don't know what they would do besides that for Bulang Port. According to Pakwuranta, it's important for us that the construction of the airport in Bulang be completed immediately. However, if this is not possible, he said, we also offer to optimize the use of the Bulang port. Okay. Regarding the airport, Gibran admitted that he would review the studies carried out both in terms of location, accuracy, and impact on the area. He also said that he agreed that there's inequality in the equitable development in Bali. He said, we're committed to equitable development, no longer Java-centric, so that Balinese people can enjoy the multiplier effect. Even though he could not immediately promise the construction of an airport in Bulang, he stated that he would look for the right solution after conducting an in-depth study, and there have been a number of them. He emphasized the need to find solutions that are not only technically correct, but also have a positive impact on local communities. And aside from that, equitable development in the economic sector was also one of his focuses, or foci. He said, Bali Mandara High School has now been turned into a regular school, and he promises to return it to its original state. When Bali Mandara High School was founded, it was founded as a high school for underprivileged kids so that they could go to high school. And I didn't even know that that mission was changed, but apparently it is. So he said, if there's a landslide victory here in Bulang by him and his partner, poor children in Bali who cannot continue their high school education will be able to go to Bali Mandara again. He said, we want access to be more open. There are new economic growth points in northern Bali. If there's an airport here, of course, there'll be more job opportunities. So please be patient. There's a lot of homework in Bali that must be completed, especially if we win. And that's all I'm going to say about that rally. And another story on the tourism front. Bali targets 7 million foreign tourists in 2024. 7 million. The central government has set a target of 14 million tourists to visit Indonesia in 2024, and about half of that, 7 million or so, are expected to visit Bali. The head of Bali's provincial tourism office, Pak Pamayun, who I've often mentioned, said he's confident that we will get 7 million here, considering that in 2023 we had over 5 million foreign tourists coming to Bali. Data from the provincial tourist authorities, valid through 26th of December, recorded Actually, 5,232,751 foreign visitors. Australians, 25%, followed by Indians, Chinese, UK residents, USA, South Koreans, French, Singaporeans, Germans, and Malaysians. Pak Pamayan. I said this 5 times. I don't know why I can't say this. Pak Pamayan affirmed that Bali is still a favorite destination for foreign tourists. And he acknowledged that the recovery of Bali's tourism from the pandemic has exceeded the already optimistic projections of tourist industry officials. And he's confident that the recovery in 2024 will even be better, including how long people stay, how many people stay, and how much they spend per day. Pak Pamayan said these optimistic numbers could be affected negatively by several problematic issues contributing to overall instability in the world, including the Ukraine-Russian war and the war going on by the Israelis against the people of Gaza. Pak Pamayan called on the people in Bali to work to keep the situation conducive to tourism in Bali. And some more on Buleleng. Tourist destination levy in Buleleng targeted to double. The regional original income, known as PAD, from levies on tourist destinations in Buleleng Regency is targeted to double next year. The increase in target was followed by a number of studies, and seeing the growth of the tourism sector in Bali, and especially in Buleleng, there's going to be 15 cruise ships at Chalukan Bawang coming in 2024. The head of the Buleleng Tourism Office, Pak Dodi, said that the PAD target from tourist destinations is targeted at 10 billion rupiahs. That's more than double from last year's 4.5 billion rupiahs. He added that the target number is based on using various strategies to increase tourist visits, including promotional materials and training people here to be better at selling Buleleng as a popular destination. Apart from that, Pak Dodi said the number of tourist destinations in Buleleng will go from 10, which it currently has, to 25 next year. And Pak Dodi said it's hoped that improving the tourist destination management will have an impact on improving the welfare of the local communities around the destinations as well as the managers. Meanwhile, Pak Dodi and his staff are currently working to develop a calendar of events that will work well in enticing tourists to come up to the north and stay here for a little while. And so, if you haven't been up to Buleleng, well, it's well worth a visit. And that is it for today. I hope if you are here in Bali, you're having a good time. And if you're planning on coming, well, I hope you have safe travels. Thanks for viewing. Be kind to someone today. Stay safe. And I will see you next time.